Hello, we're back. It's part 5 now of our Illustrator map tutorial series, and this time around we're going to work on tracing roads. And there are a number of ways you can do this. Really the best and most accurate way is unfortunately going to be using the pen tool. There are going to be separate pen tool tutorials, but here I'm just going to go for it, and I'm going to show you an alternative to using the pen tool. For curvy lines, we want to click, drag, release, click, drag, release, click, drag, release, and then for straight ones, we can just do a quick click. All right, now you can see that we're getting a fill over here, but that's just because that's left over from what we have. And to finish our line, we just hit the return key. All right, and then we're done. So if we want to edit where these points are, we can go back in with our white arrow, our direct select tool, select an individual point, and kind of pull that back into place. All right. Just to make this easier to see, what I'm going to do is change the appearance of that and give it, for the time being, let's just use something bright and red. And for a stroke, we're going to do nothing. We're going to set that to null. All right. So with that in place, we're going to go ahead and finish out the rest of our roads. So again, just using those simple click, drag techniques, you can create some pretty complex shapes, and it can be kind of fun getting into that, of just drawing and drawing and drawing, right? So but if you're not comfortable with the pen tool, you can always use, and it's down here with the blob brush, I believe, and that is the pencil tool. All right. So if we double click on the pencil tool, we can get settings for accurate versus smooth. And then this one is key, is keep selected. We got to turn that off, otherwise we'll go crazy. So once we have our settings about right, this should probably be okay. We hit OK, and now I could just trace here, and that should be reasonably accurate. If I wanted it to be smoother, I could go ahead and double click and click this up a notch. And you can see that that should be a little bit smoother. So in a lot of cases, this is going to be a easier way of getting your roads on your map, but at the same time, it doesn't have the precision that working with your pen tool does. So it can be a little frustrating if you are a perfectionist. I try to make sure that all of my lines intersect the way they're supposed to. If you notice, one thing that I'm doing is anytime a road comes to the edge of our map, is I run it off a little bit extra. And that's important, because when we get around to cropping our map, we don't want to give the impression that the map just ends right before, or the road ends right before the edge of the map. So we want that to kind of run off the edge to make sure that it's going to look right in when it's finally produced. So here I'm just dragging the endpoints to make sure that they're pointed in the right direction. For some small roads, we can go ahead, or not necessarily small, but straight roads, we can go ahead under the shape tool and use the line segment tool. And that makes doing straight lines a lot easier. You can see that that's just a lot faster. Here's another one. So yeah, and sometimes I hope you find that this can be kind of relaxing. to just kind of get in the mode of just plugging along and doing your work. Now, do we have to include every single little road? No, not necessarily. Where the detail is going to matter, like in and around the restaurant itself, yeah, we want to include as much information as possible so that we have a better chance of our readers getting to the right place. So we'll try to provide as much detail as is appropriate. Let's see if that comes out okay. That's not so bad. And smart guides, again, are going to be your help here because they'll tell you when you're intersecting with another path. So I think that about does it. Oh, wait, no, we got a few more down here. For these, I'll use the pen tool. I'm sure that's some weird road that we're not supposed to be on in the airport. And here, let's... And for these little ones, I think I'll go in and use the pencil tool and just kind of bring those together. Okay, and then I can zoom in and clean up those intersections because that's who I am. And I kind of expect the same of you guys to pay attention to these small details. Quality makes a difference. Might have to go in a little closer there. Okay, so there we go. Once we have all of these drawn, it's a pretty basic practice to or a basic operation to get these changed to the right style. An easy way, now that I know that these are all kind of the same line, the same color, the same stroke width, is to select one of them and then go to the select menu up here and go select same, let's say fill and stroke, or maybe we could even go stroke color. Okay, now there are a few things over here on the template, but I'm not too worried about those. I can go down here to major or basic roads and apply that style to everything down here. And the only thing that I really want to change is Daniels Parkway, so I'm going to reselect that one and change that to a major road. All right, so we're getting closer and closer here. The last thing probably before we get into text or embedding our map or building our background is adding our landmark, right? So I'm going to go ahead and here zoom into where the actual cafe is, and or actually I'm going to zoom out and go to my template, and I already have something built here for that, and I'm going to option drag that roughly into the location, and then I'll zoom back in. And I know that's a little big looking, but I'm going to put that right there. And then I'm going to try to figure out where my pointer box should be. Since there's all of this space down here, I think I'm going to have a pointer box down here that points up. All right. So I'll go back to my template items and I'll find a pointer box over here with type in it. And I'm going to option drag it to make a copy of it and get that roughly into position. Okay, so we're getting a little bit closer here. Because this is a group, and I hope we went over this in class, if I double click on this group, then I get into isolation mode. See, this is an indicator up here that I'm in isolation mode. And what that means is I can work with all of these elements without disturbing anything else. So if I go in with my direct select tool, I can go in and select just the endpoints of both of those pointers and draw them up until they're right at the center of our landmark. All right, and to get out of that, I can just either go back here or I can double click out, right? If this is not in the right order, and you know that's something that we need to consider, we can always select that, right click on it, and then go to Arrange, Bring to Front. Okay, so now most of our actual elements are on the map, and we just need to add a background and add some type. But we'll save that for the next video. So sit tight, and I'll be back.